Hello, everyone, and welcome to the NaariShakthi Show. Behind every successful organization is someone who's quietly shaping its people, its culture, and its future. They may not always make headlines, but they're quietly impacting the future. Today's guest is one such person. For nearly 3 decades, Saraswathi Ramachandra has been building organizations, leading transformation, nurturing talent, and guiding organizations through change. But beyond the boardrooms and business milestones is the journey of a woman who's been defined by curiosity, resilience, and the unwavering belief in ownership. Saraswati, it's such a pleasure to have you in the Nari Shakti Show.
Pleasure being here, Aparna, and I'm amazed at what you are doing.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me here. Looking forward to the conversation.
Absolutely. Saraswati, you've had an extraordinary career spanning over 3 decades, right? But before we talk about the milestones and achievements, who is Saraswati as a person? Very curious to know because that is the defining point, right? That is the defining character of everything that goes around it.
A very interesting question, Aparna. Often in this world today where we are running a rat race, a competition that we don't know where it ends, I think we tend to forget who we are. So, a very pertinent question. To me, it's not one identity. Like any other woman, I think we all have multiple identities.
Absolutely.
Right? And I think our culture of Durga Ma showing multiple hands is a true indication of all of us as women. So, at the core, I am a very curious and human first person.
Love
And
that.
that is what who I am. Everything else around me is what has defined the moments that I believe based on the values that have been brought up. I come from a very middle class family whose core value has always been work hard, do your best, have integrity in everything that you do, be ethical. I think that has defined everything that I've done so far in life, whether it is work or my life. So, to me, at work, of course, taking those beliefs has and values has helped me becoming who I am. In that sense, I don't believe the titles themselves define who I am because that's going to change tomorrow, it's going to be different. But at work, I've always believed if I can make every other person believe in themselves a little better than what they believed, and I can trust that belief on them to get better every single day, I think that is the value I see. That is the core I see as Saraswati. Not a person who goes with that title and says, hey, here I am, and this is what I do, and this is what you're supposed to believe or do. I go with the fundamental belief that every individual comes to work not for salary, but because they want to bring value to the organization. As a leader, it's my duty to make sure I bring that best out of them. So if I've, in that aspect, every element of have I made a difference to the individual or organization is what my core belief is. But beyond work, like I said, to me also humanity comes first. So I work with NGOs, mentor a lot of girls because even though we talk about equal society, there is still a lot of gap. So doing that little extra to the community, building that community initiatives which is going to help others move that one step forward. I think that is what brings me a lot more satisfaction than just the titles and uh, the salary we take back. It's required, I'm not saying no. But beyond that, outside of work, I'm a mother, I'm a daughter, I'm a friend. And I do want to believe I've made that difference as that role where people don't remember me by my title or um, because that's my personal aspiration of what my title should be and where I want to go. But then I hope people have felt that genuine care and the difference that I've made to them in their life, and that's how they remember me.
So, Saraswati, your story has been one of continuous reinvention, right? But you embraced change and came out of your comfort zone, which is not easy by any means. So, what was it that actually made you take that plunge? Was it intuition? Was it an opportunity? Or was it something else?
Again, I think it's a combination of quite a few things. By nature, I'm a more curious person, right? I do want to see what else is there in life for me that I've not explored. So that has always created opportunities for me because I'm just curious to figure out what else. Right? But beyond that, I think it started when I was small. My mother was very, very clear, right? And thanks to her, both of us sisters were very clear that we need to be financially independent. And this is something that now I tell all girls. If you have, it's not about proving to the world what you are, but it is proving to you that you are capable of doing things.
Absolutely.
And that requires certain amount of autonomy, that requires certain amount of independence for you to make certain decisions. So I tell every girl, no matter what it is, you have to be financially independent and emotionally independent. That doesn't mean that you shouldn't be dependent on each other, but you should be able to anchor yourself on your own feet. So when I started my journey, like everybody else, I was clueless. Right? I like,
yes.
Let me see where life takes me. But I was always curious, like I said, to figure out what else is there. So I think fundamentally, I believed in myself. I was like, we were all brought up in a place, or we were all brought up in an age where we didn't grow up with certainty. We knew we will have to live with uncertainty. We were resilient to grow up with it. We were resilient and we knew how to deal with uncertainty. To me, when I started my journey, I get very uncomfortable when I actually get comfortable. So every time I actually got comfortable, I said, this is the time I need to change. Curiosity. So I've always anchored my stability around three things.
Okay.
Continuous curiosity. Am I continuing to learn something new and make an impact to the organization or wherever, right? Whether it's people or organization, am I continuing to make the impact? And the last one is, am I getting too complacent here? Moment I get to the third stage, I get very uncomfortable. And a line has always stuck with me saying, a ship was never actually meant to be, anchored. It was meant to sail.
Beautiful.
And so the reason I change or I reinvent myself is because at some point of time we become stagnant and we become bottleneck to a lot of people, their career, their growth. And as we grow, we realize as leaders, we shouldn't be the bottleneck. We should actually create path for others to grow. And that's the role of any leader. The funny thing is, we say change is uncomfortable. But ever since we have grown, we have constantly been changing ourselves. And evolution has taught us that it's only change that actually makes us the fittest. But somewhere in our mind, we put ourselves in a situation where we say, okay, change is hard. From crawling to walking, we have changed. We have changed our own understanding of the ecosystem that we are. So change to me is a constant thing. It's easier to accept it and adapt to it as long as what we discussed, right? We are not changing our belief, our value system, our ethics and integrity. That we should not be changing. So for me, reinvention is a conscious decision so that I don't become bottleneck, so that I don't stop learning something new, so that I don't become comfortable. And that has opened up a lot of opportunity. Others will believe in you if you believe in yourself. So the ability to say, yes, I think I can. It's okay. The biggest risk you can have in life is to stop breathing. Everything else you can recover from. Taking that risk, taking that plunge and saying, it's okay if I fail, I learn something new, has given me a lot of opportunities and taken me to places which I think otherwise, if I was in my comfort zone, would have never given me that opportunity.
I like the example that you talked about of a child crawling and then standing, right? That's metamorphosis, right? A caterpillar can never become a butterfly until it goes through these series of changes. Change is not easy. It is not easy to embrace change, but if you don't embrace those changes, you're going to be stagnant, right? So growth comes purely out of change and coming out of your comfort zone every single time. So I liked what you said. Every time you got very complacent, you said it was time to evolve. So one thing that really stood out in your LinkedIn profile, you say that organizations today don't really have to prove their capability, right? It is about ownership, right? So more than transferring roles and responsibilities, it is about transferring ownership. So Saraswati, what do you mean by that, and how significant do you think that really is in today's world?
I think you've done a lot of research, but thanks for that question, Aparna. Very pertinent, because when you talk to anybody in the industry, they tell you, at least in every conversation that we are having, they're like, in India, GCC is execution center. We need to move to accountability, ownership. We need to be able to get more accountability. Now, this is a very paradoxical thing, and again, talk about it with a little bit example, a real life example that all of us can relate to, right? When you're a first time mother, nobody gives you a job description, and nobody can give you a job description, right? But as women, we embrace it so beautifully. And to what you said, we ourselves change from caterpillar to butterfly, right? Because nobody can give you a checklist of this is what you need to do. But we take full responsibility, which doesn't come with any job description, role description. And of course, we make mistakes, we learn from them. After generations, there's no perfect parenthood. But we take accountability, we take ownership, we take responsibility. I don't know why in work we expect somebody to give us ownership. We have capability, and India has got all the talent. India has got the capability. I think to the world today, we have proven we are capable of doing things. But then the discussion shifts to, can we get more ownership? I think it's on us to take that ownership, prove, and it's a ripple effect, right? Once we are able to prove, your second child becomes natural thing, your third child becomes natural thing. But unless you prove, it's all based on trust. If I trust you, Aparna, I was today morning, somebody sent this, right? In English dictionary, open and close are two opposite words, but we only open up with people who we are close to, and that holds
Oh,
good
beautiful.
everywhere.
Love that.
So the trust is a big element, and the trust comes only if we are consistently doing things, if we are taking that plunge and saying, I will take that additional thing, and then connecting the dots, proving that I'm capable, and proving that I'm capable consistently so that you start trusting me. Then I give you ownership. Then I give you accountability. But that first step has to always start from us. So it's the reason I said paradoxical is because we are all capable of doing that. But when we enter work, we say we need ownership. We don't need, we should start. That accountability of taking ownership lies with us. Nobody needs to empower us. We have that empowerment within us. We just need to go ahead and do it. That's how I see. And that's why I keep saying we don't need to prove capability. We've already done that, right? But let's not have this debate of do we need ownership? Absolutely. And then to me, like I said, ownership also comes from trust. Ownership comes from doing things consistently. So I always go with this framework that you need to make sure you're delivering, you're consistent, you're building the trust, you're resilient about things, and you're taking full accountability for that. It's okay to make mistake. We will always learn. But if we don't, and we are saying somebody needs to give something to me because then I'm not going to make mistake, then we are failing collectively. So I always push, at least in my role, saying, let's go that extra mile. Let's understand the purpose. Now, if we don't understand the purpose, we will always remain in this. We are capable of doing, but we will never plunge into taking ownership.
I love that. So the society is not one type, right? The society has all kinds of people. But what differentiates an extraordinary from an ordinary is the ability to take ownership, even when people are not watching, right? So, yes, I can assign tasks to person A and person B, and person A can wait for instructions to be given. Person B can say, okay, this is on me, I'm going to make it happen. So, eventually, there's going to be a change. Right, between the two of them. So you're right. And ownership is that key differentiator. So talking about leadership, leadership always seems easy from the outside. It's like the tip of the iceberg. People see the good things. People see you're the boss, you're in control. People don't see the struggles, the challenges, the difficult decisions that you make. So according to you, what has been the most challenging aspect of being a leader?
I think leadership is a journey. Right? And again, I go back to, I think we can learn a lot from past, right? When I look at Mahabharata war, Arjuna was a great leader and Krishna was a great leader. Arjuna did not doubt about his capability, but all the potential consequences of the decision that he's making. And leadership to me is like that. If there is one thing that rests on any leader, is the consequence of every decision we make day in, day out. With a lot of uncertainty that surrounds us, we still have to make decisions. And there are consequences we are sure of, there are consequences we do not know, but that's what we get paid for. There are three things to me that when I look back at the journey of my own journey, topmost being, I think we've heard a lot about leaders feeling lonely. To a large extent, that's true because there are a lot of things that rest on your shoulder. There are things that you cannot share it with your team because that role demands you to not share it. It is confidential, but those actions that you take has an impact on people, their lives, their families, and their careers. So to me, leadership is, again, when I started saying it's not a title, but the responsibility that you carry in terms of the impact you have on people. So every time there is a hard decision to make, that's when it feels the loneliest because you have nobody to talk. Fortunately for me, and this is something I would like, if at all it helps to anybody, right? I've had wonderful friends who tell me, it is okay. You're not doing this because you like doing this, because this is what is required. See, ultimately, at the end of the day, any business runs because they have to have top line margin, bottom line margin, or there is a client who's happy with your business and is there giving money, right? At the end of the day, organization thrives on business. But of course, it also thrives because there are good people. When that balance goes off, either when there is no business, or the business line impact is, sorry, the bottom line or top line is impacted, it has to impact somewhere else. And as leader, you're sitting in between making that decision, which I don't expect people should understand. But to me, in that uncertainty, if I've made a decision, I don't expect people to know what decision I made, but how I treated them.
That was actually very profound, because you're very true. It's the decisions that we take on a day in and day out basis that actually define us. So decisions define us, right? One bad decision could take us the other way, one good decision, but every day, we have moments of this decision making that is actually shaping us. And like you said, it's a ripple effect. Somebody believed in you, they made you push harder. Now you have this large, and your circle of influence keeps getting, bigger and bigger, every single person that you're affecting. So very, very beautiful. And that's how we pay it forward to our society. All right. So Saraswati, tell me this. We are in this world of AI, right? It's an unprecedented change. And every day the world is evolving so fast and rapidly, more than ever before. But what is that one thing that, continues to stay human, that you think will never ever be touched by AI?
I think these days there is no conversation that goes without AI.
True.
Right?
And the lines between AI and reality are blurring, right?
Very.
AI looks real, real looks AI.
Very. And I think that's where we as humans can make a difference. But before I answer that question, in fact, just recently we had Guru Purnima, right? So I was just thinking about how gurus were teaching before. We were never taught to learn one skill.
Yes.
And it was never a deep expertise saying you need to learn the skill and become a deep expertise. And if you see the whole evolution of how technology has evolved, we moved from masters of many things in Gurukul system, where they were taught to learn life skills, to uncertainty, to everything, to becoming expert at something. And I think it's time to go
And
back
many
to
times
teaching.
it's experts at things which we don't practically use, right?
No. Now I think it's time to go back to becoming masters of many things. And while the word guru means removing ignorance, I think in the world of AI, it's also removing fear. The fear of AI is so settled in people, because the fear that it'll take away job, it'll take away my role, what will happen to my career? It's real fear. But as long as AI is able to do something better and better every day, if we are saying I am an expert at one thing, that's where it gets a little shaky. While AI can do a lot of things, as humans, I have this standing joke or standing framework where I say, the human juice we need to keep. What is that juice? Judgment. AI can produce a lot of things, but it can hallucinate. It is us to make sure we understand the context, we understand the repercussions, we understand the consequences, and make the judgment that's not short term, but long term. That only humans can do. And that is becoming more and more important, because if AI can do the task, making sure the task or whatever is automated is actually sustainable long term, has a better impact on the world, that is where judgment becomes critical. U is for unlearning. I think we all say, okay, we've become an expert at something. We know today it is AI, tomorrow it can be something else, right? Because technology changes, skills changes.
True.
As long as we are able to unlearn and learn something more faster. So continuous unlearning is very important as humans, because that's the only way we'll adapt and move faster than technology. Integrity. In a world where everything is so competitive, I think what stands us uniquely as humans is integrity, and that is one thing we should never compromise on. C for curiosity, communication, because if we are not curious, if we are not able to articulate and communicate what we stand for, what is it that we are doing, we are as good as being automated, right? So to me, that curiosity to keep doing the right things, learn, invent new things while the tasks are, because it's a beautiful opportunity. I don't think as humans we were meant to do same thing again and again. We have got comfortable doing the same task. It's a great opportunity AI has given us to unlevel that and say, we humans are capable of a lot more. If we can grab that opportunity and say, now my task is automated, I can actually elevate myself to actually what I'm meant to be doing as humans. It's a beautiful way of, getting to that next level. If we can be curious to know what is that next level. And the last one is E, empathy. And that I think only as humans we can do. And I think that's the most critical element. Because if we are not empathetic to our people, our society, our community, then robots can do whatever we are doing. So I go with that framework of human juice, which is never going to be taken away by anything that can be automated. So AI can level, and Aparna, to me, I don't want to be differentiating, but to me, it's also an opportunity if we have the right data. Now, we do not have the right set of data. There's also discussion saying because of AI, women will go backward. But if we can make that change, it's level setting, right? Because the technology is changing. Unfortunately, as women, our body keeps changing. There are a lot of things that only as women we need to go through. It could be maternity, it could be because mobility of your spouse, depending on where you are, maternity. And at certain age, when you think all your responsibilities are a little lesser, you go through menopause, which is not easy. But through all of it, if technology can be a level setting game changer, beautiful platform where everybody can be equal and show that all of us are having that capability to go beyond what has been a false ceiling that has been set. So I see this as a beautiful evolution of how we can automate tasks, but also move towards what is more human, what is that we are capable of doing, and unearth that thing that we have possibly kept aside because we were so busy doing things. Our calendars are busy, our lives are busy, roads are busy. Now is an opportunity to say, hey, I have time. This is where, if we reflect right, I think we have wonderful opportunity that AI is giving us.
So, Saraswati, tell me this. You've built businesses, mentored so many people, and really shaped the culture throughout your career, right? But beyond all this, what is one impact that you feel that people you should always remember you for?
Somebody that I was actually talking to me told this, and that has remained with me, right? Someday we will all retire from our corporate world. Yes, we want the culture to be there. We want to build that culture. And in that culture, people will forget the targets, because if we don't meet the target, we are not in the business, right? People will forget the metrics. We would have met all of those or done better, and that's how we grow in the business. But at the end of the day, if we have built a better society, if we have built better leaders, if we have believed in people and empowered them, and if we have, as leaders, if we have enabled them to believe in themselves ahead of they believed in themselves, I think that is what to me matters. So tomorrow, if some people remember me, I would want not the legacy that I've built in business or the targets that I've met, but as a person whose presence made difference to people, as a friend who was there for somebody when it mattered, as a leader who believed and created more leaders. And if I've, see, to me, leadership is a borrowed thing, right? Tomorrow, we will have to give it to somebody. And that somebody is, if you have created many of that somebody, I think that is how I want to be remembered, rather than the targets that I've met, rather than the empire that we built. But if we made the society better by inculcating the right culture and values, that is how I want to be remembered rather than anything else.
I love the fact that you've mentioned this twice now, and it resonates with me every single time that you bring it up, which is recognizing the potential of people long before they saw it within themselves, nurturing, honing it till they finally, saw it and realized that they had it in them. So that's a very, very, very critical thing. And I think we all also evolved that way. We never set out, thinking that we would be shaped a particular way, but we surprise ourselves. And I think that onus to do it with others is on us.
Absolutely. And that happens to us because somebody believed, right? When that happens 2, 3, 4 times, then we start believing in themselves, in ourselves. So yeah, you're right. The onus to believe in somebody is very, very important.
Okay. So Saraswati, this brings us to our question, our inevitable question, which we ask all our guests. What does Nari Shakti mean to you?
First of all, I love the name. I'm going to be a little bit philosophical. If I go back in history, and I'm a firm believer of our culture,
I can see that coming through strongly.
So if I go back in history, I think ours was a society which always believed in NaariShakti.
Absolutely.
We have equal number of Devis as the gods. Right?
And we have Ardhanarishwar, right? Half.
I was going to talk about that, right? Because if we didn't have enough women as men represented in our 33,000, whatever numbers we talk about, we could have then said that our society is not equal, but it's forever been equal because of the wars, whatever. Lot of things have, of course, changed. And somewhere we've borrowed a lot of culture that is probably not ours. And the more and more I reflect, the more and more I want to go back to that society where there was equality. And then to your point, Shobitam, the Sanskrit word we talked about, our scripts say that yatra narintu pujante tatra pashyante dashyante devataha, right? Where the women are worshipped is where the gods reside. I think that beautifully summarizes our culture if we can just borrow that leaf and apply it to today's world. As women, I don't think we are less capable of anything. We just need that platform. Yeah, we have more responsibility and there's no shrugging away from it. Our DNA and build is such that we want to take on more responsibility and we do it beautifully. I don't think anybody else can endure the pain that we go through or the ownership we take. And
the silent struggles.
all of it, but we still, when there is an opportunity, we never compromise on it. And we actually do it better, right? When I started my career, somewhere I read it, and it stuck on me, and every time it keeps coming back to me as a challenge, and I'm like, I'm capable of proving it, right? And that saying was, women has to work twice as hard to be proved half as good. And I'm like, yeah, I'm capable of doing that. I absolutely can do it. And that has helped me push myself in many ways. So the Shakti that Nari has is tremendous, tremendous to a point where I think only a Nari can do. And again, going back to our culture and what you said, Ardhanarishwar, it's equal. And there is no Shiva without Parvati. And that representation of Ardhanarishwar shows the power of women. So, to all the women there, I think we just have to believe in ourselves. And the ones who have been able to believe in themselves and accomplish themselves, we have to uplift other women. And that onus lies on us. To me, it is not about competing with men. It is an equal world. Somewhere it has got skewed. But if each one of the women can uplift other women, I think we will bring back the society that we were in. That's how I see Nari Shakti. We don't need, we talk about men ally, we need more women ally, we need more women supporting other women. Somewhere in the society, there is this misconception saying women can't work with each other, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law soaps, which creates that perception that women hate each other more than men. Absolutely not. I think the comfort we have with other women doesn't come with other men, right? Of course, we fine-tune ourselves to work in the society, in corporate, in the ecological system that we operate, or in entrepreneur, to make sure we are fundamentally doing what is required. But it's only with other women we feel so comfortable. So if we are that comfortable, it's also on us to break that perception. Hey, we are not competitors. We are probably the best of what we can bring out of other women. That I think we will definitely have to do. And once we do that, I think we are in a better place where we can absolutely prove that Shakti of Nari.
Incredibly said. I like how you connected dots with, what we were inherently, what our culture, what our mythology all teaches us, to where, over the years, society has lost it due to various influences. But, we have to go back to that point, rediscover ourselves, and, just believe in ourselves, and just tell ourselves that we are not less than anybody else, and
Absolutely.
go, conquer the world. It's ours, right? Yeah,
Absolutely.
very well said. So I absolutely love this conversation with you, Saraswati. There were so many takeaways. The biggest takeaway, of course, was ownership, right? You want to build. There have been so many people who've been part of your journey, shaping you, and it's time for us to give back. And give back not by giving instructions, by transferring ownership. That's the way you actually build leaders, when they feel like they're not assigned responsibilities, they're not assigned duties, they're not assigned tasks, but they're assigned ownership. They're responsible for something. And totally love that, echo with that. I hope that you loved today's conversation. And if you want to hear more such conversations from incredible and inspiring women like Saraswati, like, share, and subscribe. We'll be back with another Nari and her story next week. And it's me, Aparna, signing off. Thank you.